Well, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, the 17th of September. The days are ticking by, exactly a week from the start of the race, and slow progress, but it's jumping up now. Boat speeds are getting quite good. Thanks for the people on YouTube who have actually subscribed again. We've jumped from, I think we started off with about 1,200 subscribers. Now we've got about 2,800 and we're pushing towards 3,000. So that's kind of cool. We have nothing to do with the advertising. We don't place advertising on the site, but on YouTube, it's compulsory. That's what you get. But now we've gone over the hours and the subscribers. We get paid. I think we made €2 yesterday, which is kind of cool. Jane's wrapped. Anyway, and the numbers on Facebook are slowly building as well. We're through 11,000 now. So thanks. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, please do. It helps us with the with everything that's going on. Anyway. Straight into, nothing really exciting to report in the tweets. We're getting more SoundClouds. Jane's got them up on SoundCloud now, and we'll slowly start sharing some of those onto Facebook as well. You'll see that happen. Hopefully get the first ones up today and then see how it goes. And we're still, just as a by the way, it's Sunday, so I can waffle on a bit. We're working on a Bayonet platform, which I mentioned at the very beginning. Some of you might not have heard that. We will have, in the weeks ahead, launched a special platform that gives you, it's like a one-stop shop. You can go to that platform and you can play with everything. You can see the historical tracker, you can see the historical weather, you can go back to any incidents that have happened, anyone of the entrants that have downloaded video clips, you'll see when they turn up. Even though it was a week before, you can go back on the track and just hit that, it'll be there. You'll get all the information in one spot. So this daily tracker update is critical. That's instrumental on understanding what's going on and where it's happening. But we will have this opportunity to review everything on, and as the event and the challenge and the timelines extend, by the time into the Southern Ocean, you'll be able to look back to what's happening here in the Atlantic if you need to review something or check out what went in the past, so to speak. So look forward to that. But that'll be in the weeks ahead once we get some material to actually load onto that platform. It'll be quite cool. Okay, so let's go straight to the tracker, which is here. You should be getting that. Yep. And we're just able to squeak everyone onto the one map here at the moment. So you've got Godspeed taking up the rear, and you've got some of the Flyer class Maiden and Penduic and so on all lined up along the front here. And you still see the influence of this low pressure system on the whole fleet right now. It's paying dividends for the leaders. This middle pack, it's done different things, but certainly the Spirit Equip has actually done really well, and she's going to continue to pull ahead of this middle group that they are in. We've got Outlaws falling back a bit because she didn't get the jump, and the wind is slightly more forward of the beam, so that's slowing her up a bit against Triana and Neptune. So and then at the tail end, these guys are actually all getting some pretty solid weather now. I had a quick look on Windy just before getting here, and if we look at the tail enders, we'll review them first. Spirit and Galliana are probably getting the heaviest. It's not super heavy. It's about 30, 35, gusting 45 or higher, with about 6 meter seas. And that's reflected in their speed. If you look at Explorer right now, she's tracking along at 8.5 knots. Probably mizzen will be down. It's on the quarter, so probably a couple of reefs in the main. Genoa and staysail, maybe partly reef Genoa, boomed out, and also the staysail boomed out. We carry a staysail booming pole on the boat. So quite fast, and the big seas would be really nice sailing. In fact, we'll see about cloud cover in a minute. Galliana, however, smaller boat, going faster, 9.3 knots. I have no idea what they've got up at the moment, but certainly there's plenty of it, and the wind is perfectly positioned, on the quarter, on the starboard quarter, to really drive the boat. And with 5 meter seas there, 4.5, 5 meter seas, they'd be surging, surfing, just loving it, because they're sort of average speeds, and it's parallel to the course at the moment. So the VMG is pretty much real boat speed. So they'll be having a great ride, and I look forward to seeing some of the photos. I think we're going to see some interesting material come out from all of these. Evrika, 7.6 knots. Again, same wind direction, not quite as big as seas. A little bit softer there. You can see the darker area here where there's a little bit more breeze, but still fantastic conditions to really get the boats moving. White Shadow, 9.5 knots, going faster than Explorer, Swan 57. So they've got it cranked up as well. And back here, Sterner doing 5.7 knots, 172 in the last 24 hours. That's pretty good averages. And everyone's positioned really well in relation to the low pressure. Most of them were getting forecasts, knowing where it was moving and what was happening, so they all got on the right side of it. And Godspeed's doing 4.5. You can see they're actually in the green here. So there's a big jump. They're in the green, so they've got a little bit less wind, a little bit less sea. And this may not be totally correct. It could be a bit softer over here as well. So these guys are pretty good sailors. They've got a smaller boat, but they know the boat well. And if the breeze is there, they would be doing a lot more than 4.5. So they're lucking out a bit with the weather on quite a few occasions, but that's the way it goes. So just to review once again, Stern 175 miles in the last 24 hours. Vrika's 168 nautical miles last 24, and White Shadow 281. That was a glitch for sure. I think we mentioned there was a glitch with them yesterday. So sometimes it happens. Don't stress. They're not going that fast. They're going fast, but not necessarily that fast, I don't think. That's a little hiccup, which will sort itself out tomorrow. Galleanan she's done 194 in the last 24 hours. And Explorer, with exactly 5,999 miles to go, distance to the finish, did 169. So Tapio and the boys and girls are really on the hunt there now. They're loving this, and that's exactly what he's prepared for. So they'd be driving very hard. Over here with Outlaw, Baltic 55, nice boat, powerful boat, proven to be quite fast already because she's second in adventure class for now. And in fact, I'm just wondering why she's... because Triana's up the front there, that's right. But she's definitely dropped back. She was right up there with Triana and Neptune. Now, Triana has some serious sailing expertise on board. They really are ultra competitive, and it's showing very clearly. They're flying. So the crew there are really pushing hard. And again, we'll look forward to seeing the vision and the photos and following their tweets. They're having a bit of fun. Neptune's okay, 9 knots, 184 in the last 24 hours, quite respectable. And the Spirit Equip in a really nice position, 213 nautical miles. She's going to, in fact, I'll show you what's happening with the weather. She's going to close the gap with the lead flyer group. And right now, she is, I'm just using the toggle bar here. She's only 115 nautical miles. Oh, that's bow to bow. So, yeah, let's say generally 116 miles behind. And that's only half a day. So still very much in the hunt for the lead pack. And it was a good move going out there. So that's cool. I'll come back to what the weather forecast projections are. And then the lead group all in a row here. This is going to be a great race all around the world, I reckon. And in fact, it makes me think that mistakes will be more relevant than driving the boats harder. Often with this sort of sailing, when it's happening, you have a situation where it's really hard to get 100 miles ahead just by performance. But if someone makes a mistake, they make a sail change mistake or something fails or breaks down and they've got to slow right down to make repairs, that's where the others make the gains. And this may well be what's going to happen with these four. So Penjuic powering out a little bit to the side, trying to get the most apparent wind. The wind, or the best angles, I should say. The wind here is still down around sort of 15, 20 knots. It's a lot softer because they're further away from it, but in a very nice position. So Penjuic's 208 miles in the last 24 hours, 9.8 knots. That's pretty good. They would be really enjoying the sailing, and I think the sun might be out, but I'll check that in a minute. And right alongside them, Spirit of Helsinki. Again, the Swan 651 was designed nearly 8 or 9 years after Penjuic, and a very, very slick boat, not as big, but very powerful, big rig, all the rest of it, single sails. I think this is their perfect opportunity to keep up. In the Southern Ocean, that might change because a single mast with those big sails and the crew, not a huge crew, might get more challenging. And I think you'll see there'll be a difference or an advantage to Penjuic in the Southern Ocean when the winds are stronger and the seas are bigger. I don't know whether Spirit of Helsinki will be able to match that, but we'll just have to wait and see. I may be completely wrong. Who knows? Okay, Translated, performing much higher than their pay grade. I've got to tell you, I'm completely impressed with these guys. It's basically a Swan 65, and they're hanging in there. Good sailors on board, great preparation. They could do things on the Swan 65 that others weren't allowed, because she's the ex Whitbread veteran under Claire Francis, so that allowed them not racing in the production boat class. They were able to take some weight out of the boat, like doors and locker lids and things like that, because they were sort of like a custom boat in flyer class, and they did everything to optimize the boat, and I think it's paying off. I haven't been down below on the boat. I know it still looks beautiful, but they certainly did. They were allowed to do some things that Evrika, for instance, weren't allowed to do. But come what may, they're sailing the boat well. Maiden, right in there. She's a completely different concept boat to all the other three. Penduic stands alone in the design and the concept. That was for the 73 race. Helsinki was back in the 81 race. She was raced in the 85 race, sorry, the fourth Whitbread. So the design was quite a bit younger. Translated, Swan 65, and that was back in the 73 design. And then Maiden was 70. I keep getting mixed up now. 77, I think it was, as Dis Dior. Oh, I better check my history on that. But it was 77 or 81, but I'm pretty sure it was, it might have been 81. Oh, oops, sorry about that. But anyway, it was a Lion Honours boat. No, it must have been 81, because it was alongside Ceramco, New Zealand, I think it was. Oh, better be careful. Everyone's going to be abusing me now and correcting my history. Anyway, it's a flying boat. It's very easy to plane, and pretty much light, strong aluminium construction. And so it's a shorter boat, but its planing potential keeps it up with the more heavier displacement boats. So the girls are really doing well to hang in there, and their rating is good. If we look at the ratings on this, fourth in Line Honours, because they're only just behind. They're all lined up basically, but they're second in IRC, and I think you'll find that's quite strong, the second in IRC. We've got Translated first in IRC, first in flyer class, so they're just ahead. Again, part of that is probably because they're closer to the rum line. This is the rum line course here, but who knows. Juicy second Line Honours, third in IRC, first in sailor class, and Penduic first Line Honours, fourth in IRC, third in flyer class. And that was what I was saying. She's not sailing to her rating at the moment, but the conditions aren't ideal for her. I mean, him. And so that might show later on in the other legs, but one hell of a race going on up there. So now let's just have a look at the weather, and I'll show you I'm going to push this back. So small scale boats, but you'll see what's going to happen to the weather going forward. I think you should all be able to see that influence of the low pressure system here going around in a counterclockwise, and it's starting to spin out. And if we look down the bottom here, there's usually a whole bunch of trade winds, the northeasterly trades after the Canaries. Here's the Canaries there. And I'm going to now, I'll do two ranges of this. I'm going to start clicking it through so you can see a few obvious things happening. Each one of these clicks is an hour. And you'll see straight away, this is now coming up to 9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock tonight. The first thing I'm noticing is there's a big hole here, right? They're starting to appear. And also the low is blowing itself out. It's come more into a constant northwesterly or northwesterly wind. And that's going to suit all of the tail enders, so they'll all keep sailing. A little bit more in the middle, but Explorer and the lead boats will come out of this. And the tail enders will have a bit more pressure, so they'll maybe catch up a little bit on the leaders as the leaders of the tail end group slow down. The bad news is for these guys over here, they're going to drive, if they don't change course, they're going to drive straight into a lighter wind zone. I'm going to pick this up and you'll see what's happening. So we see that we discussed that with the tail end group, and you can see now everything's starting to soften off. So that's bad for these guys. So this is at midnight tonight. Reasonably good for Lionel, because I think you're starting to see the lead guys here are going to run out of wind before Lionel does. He's going to possibly close the gap a bit. right now. You can see this light wind zone turning up here. They're going to slow down, but there's a reasonable breeze for the lead pack here, and it's quite possible. We'll just keep following this through. Quite possible this is by this time tomorrow. Now, 24 hours from right now, there'll be another maybe 180 miles in front. So we'll come back and I'll show you roughly. So they'll be somewhere around about there. Okay, so the lead boats are going to be here, and there's a hole there. They know that it's in the lee of the island here. So, but it looks like a couple of them are going to go this side and a couple this side. So if Maiden and Translated keep coming down in this direction, they're about here, they're probably going to have a bit more pressure than the guys over here, maybe. But certainly they're going to pull away from these guys. These guys, they'll be about maybe 150 miles in front. So let's just see. Yeah, they might just hang on to it. Certainly, I don't think Outlaw will. Outlaw's at risk of parking in here, but the two, Triana and Neptune, they may just hold on to this and keep going. They'll be just in here. So not so bad for them. Now, if the tail enders, they'll be maybe 180 miles in front again. Let's just say in 24 hours' time. So they could be down here, still nice breeze. So we may see a catch up here. If these three start to slow down, there may be a little bit of a catch up for the tail enders and bunch the fleet together again. So if I now get rid of that and keep it moving for the next day, I'm going to make this smaller so we can keep it going. This is 24 hours from now. I'm going to go forward another day, and you'll see it softening at the back end. So with Godspeed being at the back, they might get hooked up here with light winds, but Explorer and the lead ones may hold this breeze. Certainly the leaders, they're into it. They'll be well and truly established in 36 hours time, sort of thing, which is what we're looking at now in the Northeast trades, and they're on a roll. That'll take them right down into the doldrums, because I'll just put the latitudes on. This is the doldrums right here. It's the convergence of the northeasterly trades there, and then over here you've got the southeasterly trades in the South Atlantic. Here's the equator, and it's maybe a bit early to be talking about the doldrums, but it's actually oscillating quite high at the moment, up around 10 degrees north, going right up to nearly 20 degrees, and that'll change. That's the big thing. You can never pick this until you're a few days away. Okay, it could close up and there might be nothing. You could sail through, and that'll have an impact on the actual arrival times, of course, in Cape Town. And it's interesting right now, if we go to the leaderboard, there's some interesting statistics coming up here, which I was following through this morning on an ETA. So if you look at, this is on line honours, which is basically boat speed towards the finish. You can look at, Penjuic's only covered in the last 24 hours, the last week, 1,300 nautical miles. So it's a very slow start to a degree. Not too bad, but not fast, that's for sure. And based on that, they look at the VMG at the moment, velocity made good right now, and the program comes up with an estimated time of arrival in Cape Town, or at the end of the leg. So it's suggesting today that she might arrive on the 19th of October. Spirit of Helsinki, 20th of October. If we come down and look at, say, Neptune, she's 28th of October, remembering that the restart is on the 5th of November. So if we look at Explorer, it's looking like Explorer won't be in until the 7th of November, which is 2 days after the start. Now, that's because her current VMG is showing at 4.9 knots, and that's not so relevant. It's an average over about 3-4 days, this VMG, and the ETA. And she's now moving at better hull speeds. She should be averaging down to Cape Town about 170, 180 miles a day. That's basically what she should do, which would put her in at about the 25th of November if you do the numbers. 25th of October if you do the numbers. But certainly the tail enders, they're not going to have a long time in Cape Town. If you look at Godspeed, for instance, the VMG of 3.8 knots, that's an average over the last few days, suggesting she's going to arrive on the 24th of November. Big problem. But depending on what happens in the doldrums, we'll see that change, and depending on what course they take in the Southern Ocean, in the South Atlantic, in the Southern Hemisphere, that'll all impact on their arrival time. So we'll look at that later. It's a bit early to be talking about that, but certainly it's been a slow start, generally speaking. Okay, so just a bit of a peek going forward to see what the weather does on that's only day 1.5. That's on the 19th it's not even that. Yeah, about 1.5 days from now. So there's a couple of days forward. You can see here, there's not a lot of breeze, but they should be down here then and the others. So we got to hope that the tail end pack keeps the breeze and gets into the trade winds as quick as possible. I think that's probably about it for now. We'll be back again tomorrow and give you another update. I'm looking forward to the team arriving here. I'm going to quickly go through the questions here. I'll start at the top to see if there is any. I can see the comments that are coming through, and see the comments coming through, and I'll try and respond to them. Morning from Mississippi. Hi, Don. Can you explain the difference between VMG start, VMG recent, and the leaderboards? Yeah, I'm going to actually do all the question and answers straight after this this tracker update. So we've had a few people asking that, so I will actually try and give you the best explanation I can in a minute on the next Q&A. Hello from Ireland. Hi from France. Thanks for watching. Kangaroo Island. Oh, South Australia. G'day, Scott. Oh, that's my hometown. G'day, Baha. Team 9 translated. Swan 65 flyer. Last night rain and strikes very close. Yeah, they've had a bit of lightning. Today had bigger waves. Vomited last full day. Marco. Okay. Marco gets a bit crook, but I thought he would have had his sea legs by now. So that's cool. But follow the tweets. It's an interesting comparison between 651 and the older 65s. Oh, cheese and chalk. When you look at the designs, when they're side by side, the power of the design on the 651, the stern sections and things like that, completely different boat. And they were designed many years apart. So that's obvious as well. Adventure having 50 knots and 8-meter swells for breakfast. Yeah, they have got big squeeze. Okay, so she's got 8-meter swells, and it's forecasting 5 to 6. So I fully believe that. And as I mentioned, if you listen to the SoundCloud from who was it? From White Shadow yesterday, it was interesting. Exactly as I predicted. There were 2 swell sets. There was one from the northwest and one from the southeast, and every now and then it'd cause a bit of havoc. So that was interesting to hear him talk about that. Outlaw Baltic 55 trying to stay ahead of low. Oh, this is Jane putting the tweets up, I think. Trying to stay ahead of the low northwest of us, Outlaw, making good progress south. Seas approximately 5 to 6 gusts, 40 knots and showers. So, yeah, that's what we thought. So quite demanding conditions. They're right in the thick of it now, and no doubt enjoying the challenge because it's not going to last. That's the good thing. When you're in conditions like that and it's going to abate slowly but steadily, that's a good thing. But if you're going into it like that and it's going to get worse, what'll happen in the Southern Ocean, it's sort of like, hold on, Jane Sayula, 28, morning stack of proper English pancakes and Explorer recipe book available soon. Oh, that's Explorer. Okay. All they talk about is food. You should have seen the food budget. Cheapest. They put 500 euros of frozen fish onto the boat. All right. Yeah. Anyway, carry on regardless. G'day. Maiden factor 58. Bruce, yeah. Flyer in a squally patch at the moment. Flyer in a wind speed and direction very variable. Lots of trimming and concentration required. I can believe it. They're so competitive, those girls. They really want to prove a point here. So they'll be working very hard. Racing is very exciting. We cannot see the left side of the screen. So when showing us the leaderboard, we don't know which boat you're talking about. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, thanks for that tip. I will check that. We're getting some conflict in the screen format at the moment. So I'll have to make sure that doesn't happen again. Exciting race watching from Norway. Thanks a lot. I think that's it. So we'll see you tomorrow and see you shortly with the Q&A on all the questions that were put, or a few questions that were put to me about 3 weeks ago, and the questions that were put to us this week. That'll be on in maybe about 15, 20 minutes. See you then. Bye-bye.